Hey guys, welcome to another episode of CPU Speed Motorcycles. Today we're going to scare some birds. Ooh. Passing cars here, 18-wheelers kicking up a lot of dirt. Wow, oh fuck me. Today I'm riding the 2018 Yamaha MT-10. Now the cornerstone of this bike is the fantastic engine. It's an inline-4 with a cross-plane crankshaft, and the timing order of the pistons have been altered also. And what this does, it gives you a more linear and flat torque curve. And it is fantastic. I'll have to tell you, because I have a history of inline 4s and peaky inline 4s where you have to just, all the power comes at the high end, and it builds up, and then bam, this is a lot flatter. So there's a lot more low-end torque and a lot more mid-range torque. And it really is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Now, when I went out to buy an inline 4, it was more of a historical thing. I wanted inline 4 again because I've had so many. But at the same token, I don't want something old. I don't want to relive the past. Oh, thank you. So it's quite a cool find to get this because it is a new bike. And this engine, this is the second gen of this engine. It's almost 10 years old, I believe. But wow, it is great. It is really great. Now, as I ride around and do this review video, I am in drive mode 2. I'm not going to get too crazy because I want to talk to you all. I don't want to... But if you're familiar with the Yamaha R1 sport bike, that's what this is based off of. It has the engine and the race suspension from the R1. Now, the engine is not exactly the same. It's a little bit detuned, but the suspension is fully adjustable, and it is fantastic as well. And you have the sport-rated tires and the brakes, although people have complained about the brakes, and I don't know, I'm not absolutely sure if they made any changes for 2018. But I'll tell you something, for street riding and canyon carving and racing around, the brakes are fine. I don't find any problem with it, if I wanted Brembos, I would have bought a BMW or a Tuono. And that's the whole reason about purchasing a bike like this, is that there are some compromises. But they're not compromises that I feel terrible about. This bike for me ergonomically makes sense. I have 30 odd years of sport bike experience and race bike experience, but buying a bike like this with handlebars gives me twofold the endurance. That means I can spend twice as much time out in the day riding. But what's so great about this bike and this handlebar is that it's comfortable, and I don't see any reason to get a sport bike if you've got something like this. This is fantastic. You've got the sport bike engine, you've got the handlebar, and you've got the fully adjustable suspension. I don't think there were too many changes for 2018, but they did change the name to MT-10 to make it the same around the world. That's good. I did notice a steering damper, which is important for bikes like this with handlebars and this kind of trail and rake and this geometry. You should have if you're going to go fast, you should have a steering damper. So it's like one of the first things that I checked because I didn't think it came with one. I was so happy to see it. It also has, for the rear master cylinder, it is a Brembo master cylinder for the rear brake. I'm not sure if that's new for 2018, but that was kind of a cool thing to see. Electronically, it is a throttle by wire. And it has cruise control. It has 3 drive modes and traction control. 3 modes for traction control. And what they did for 2018 was they simplified the drive modes And before it was A standard and B, and then one year they flipped it, so B was the most powerful, and it was just confusing the hell out of people. For 2018, it's just 1, 2, and 3. And 1, 2, and 3 for the traction control as well. Super simple. And that's why I bought this year. I think that is, if there's one point about this video, and if you're interested in the MT-10, get the 2018 model, spend that little extra money, and do not get the older one. I knew I'd like this bike, but I didn't know how much I'd like it. And I am just thrilled with this. This is such a fantastic all-around bike. And I can't get over how comfortable it is, how fast it is, and how smooth it is. And, you know, it's funny, now that I'm driving in Mode 2, it's a little bit more smoother. But Yamaha does like to say that this isn't an R1, but it is. And the other thing about this bike is that I consider it balls out, brazen, hooligan, thrasher bike. I mean, this is the balls to the wall bike that's just going to blow people away. And it's so helpful to have that flat torque curve. And I would compare it to things like the Tuono. I think that's probably the closest rival, and the Super Duke, the KTM Super Duke. And the beauty about this bike, though, and there are some compromises which I've mentioned, it's cheaper by what, $3,000–$4,000? But this is not, I would not classify this as your typical garden variety inline four, where it's like a sewing machine and it just peaks at high RPMs, because it is nice. And it comes with Battle Axe 20S's, I think. Did I mention it has cruise control? It has cruise control, which I don't use very often. And for 2018, the most important part, it has a quick shifter, just up, but it has a quick shifter. That's important to mention. Now, I have been using a new app on my phone called Fuelio, and I've been tracking it because I wanted to see, somebody asked about it. I'm averaging about 32 miles per gallon. And that is low, I will admit. This is a hooligan, balls to the wall bike. It's a hot rod, it's a supercar like thing. And people who have hot rods and supercars, they don't care about gas mileage. And I feel exactly the same way. If I had an R1 or this bike, I wouldn't care about gas mileage. That's not what it's about. But that's one of the trade-offs you have. Now, I don't know what the gas mileage is on a Super Duke or a Tuono, but I'm sure it's not that great either, but, you know. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of taking you in these tight twisties here because there seems to be a lot of dirt on the road. Oh, Jesus Christ. Maybe use a turn signal before I... See, there's this thing called turn signals. See, that's the versatility of this bike right there. You can still do a tuck. There's no problem. But if you want to sit up and relax, you can. On a sport bike, you know. So, I mean, for instance, I'm going to go into town now and have lunch and then go up that mountain over there. If I was on a sport bike, I'd be going home now because I would be pretty worn out. That's the beauty of this bike. I can't rave enough about it. 2018 Yamaha MT-10. See you guys in the next one. Have a great week and ride safe. so hot. I'm at Jersey Mike's. Hey, everybody.